Good evening, and how is everybody doing? And welcome back to the channel. I know it's been over a week since I've done a video. Last week I was just concentrated on getting some things done. My wife and I had to go to Chicago this weekend for a wedding that we were involved in, some friends of the family. So I needed to concentrate, get everything done, make sure everything was done for the weekend. So I had nothing to do. The only thing I've really been doing is doing some painting and cleaning things up on the dually project, getting the fifth wheel plate, gooseneck plate. I got it. Most of the components are painted. I have this one left, and I have the angle iron cross member left to go. I bought a cone style wire brush to get in all these little nooks and crannies instead of having it sandblasted. I checked into having that sandblasted and powder coated, and it was going to be upwards of $250, and to me it just wasn't worth it. So I'm cleaning all the rust off of it. I'm going to hit it with some of that rust mort, and then I'm going to, not the rust mort from SEM, some of the Rust-Oleum. I'm going to hit it with some of that, and then also hit it with just, I'm going to top coat it down with some Rust-Oleum semi-gloss. So that's what I've been working on, just cleaning that up, getting it painted. In the meantime, we sold the four-wheeler that we had. It was a 1986 Yamaha Moto 4. Very old four-wheeler, but it was in pretty good condition. So my son was on me to get another four-wheeler. He's been looking. He found some different ones. He had it narrowed down to a couple of different quads, bikes, whatever you want to call them. He was looking at the Raptors, and he was looking at the Kawasaki LTZ. He finally found an LTZ pretty close to here and pretty reasonable money. But as always, things did not go according to plan. I went Thursday and picked up this bike for my son before we left for Chicago, and it has turned into pretty much a basket case. Now, I bought it from a gentleman. I'm gonna assume he's probably a poor college student, no offense, but I have a hard time believing the fact of, he said he rode it one weekend, come home the next weekend, and it didn't run. This thing is out of time. The valves are so far out of lash that you can see daylight in between the lobes, and there's only about 30 pounds compression on the cylinder. So that could be a couple of different things. The 30 pounds of compression could be possibly the valves being out, or he did ride it in some moisture, or he did ride it and it got some moisture in there, and the rings actually seized to the piston, and it's letting it blow by a little bit. Therefore, that's why it only has 30 pounds of compression. So, but as far out of, I mean, because it's out of time, and the lash, the valve lash is so far out, I don't believe that this bike's been ridden in a while. I think somebody, he said he's only had it a couple of months. Somebody's been in this top end before, just because I can tell that. Anyway, here it is. It's a 2004. He was under the impression this was a 2007 Kawasaki KFX. I apologize. I told you my son was looking for the LTZ. He was looking for the KFX. This is actually a 2004 Suzuki LTZ. I did a VIN search on it, and the first couple of letters on the VIN right there is JS. So that means that is a Suzuki product. If it was JK, that would be a Kawasaki product. For a few years there, Suzuki was building these for Kawasaki. Like the DRZ, the LTZ, and the KFX are all the same engines and pretty much the same bikes. I think the DRZ is a motorcycle though, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really know. I don't know a lot about this stuff. I'm just doing my best to get it running for him so he can enjoy it. But anyway, going back, you know, those bikes are the same. So somebody has taken this Suzuki, painted the frame green, and put the Kawasaki plastic on it, which is fine. You can do that. But the more I look at it, the more I find, you know, wrong with it, some sketchy stuff. So I just want to kind of go over it with you tonight. I mean, we got a new channel project, and it is a Kawasaki, no, I'm sorry. It's a Suzuki ltz400, because that's actually what it is, made to look like the Kawasaki kfx400. Just some different things I've found that I feel is kind of sketchy that's done. If you look right here, somebody's just taking some regular bolts and putting some copper washers in there for spacers on the sprocket, so I'm gonna have to address that. Plastic is in fairly pretty good condition, so I'm happy with that. Got some bolts missing right here. The top shock bolt is missing the nut on top right there, so I gotta grab a nut and put on there. Looking up front here, something just looks funny to me. Right in this area right here, it looks like that frame was possibly broke or cut or welded or something. You know, from the factory, these bolts right here wouldn't be painted green. So it's just, everything looks kind of funny to me. Missing a bolt right here on the plastic, and it's like that on both sides. So we're going to do our best to try and make some lemonade out of lemons. You can see right here on the frame I was talking about where it looks like it has been cut and welded. I don't know, something just looks funky up there where the shock mounts, something looks funky there. So I don't know exactly what has happened with this frame. I mean, it does have some positives as far as the bike itself. It's got a full skid plate in it. It's got some aftermarket Nerf bars. It's got some aftermarket exhaust. It's got an aftermarket exhaust. Thank you. All the foot pads, the back bars. You know, that's all aftermarket. Somebody's just taken the chain guard off and painted it red. That's factory there. But anyway, you know, I put this at top dead center, and you can see, I don't know if you can see in the exhaust right there how far out it is. I don't know if you can see, there's actually quite a bit of daylight. There's about an 1/8 inch gap in between both of them. Those tappets should be touching the bottom of those lobes. This one here is really, really tight, and that one there is out. So there is actually shims underneath these tappets that sit on top of the valve stems. I'm actually taking that tappet and turning it with my finger right there. So, and when I said what I meant was it was out of time, these two lobes, this one being the intake, you can see how that one's pointing straight back and that one's pointing up just a little bit. So therefore, you know, the engine is out of time. And if you go over here on this side with the cam sprockets, this is an overhead cam engine. You can see this number 3 is pointing back, and that number 2 is pointing back. Those actually should be straight up and down. So, and I don't remember, I would have to look, and there's marks on the cam right here too. Those should be parallel with the top of the head. See those marks right there? And both of those are off. So I don't know. I got to do some more research. I'm not 100% certain on a lot of this stuff. So gonna be doing some research on the bike. Like I said, this is not a Kawasaki. It is a Suzuki that somebody has taken and made it look like a Kawasaki, which is fine, no big deal. They're all the same bike. He didn't really want the Suzuki, he wanted a Kawasaki, so he got a look-alike. But you know, we live and we learn with projects. You would have thought I learned after the dually, but I'm doing pretty good. This four-wheeler, we're not doing too bad. We paid 400 bucks. I'm gonna pull the head off. I'm gonna pull the, I'm sorry, I think I said we paid 400 bucks. We paid $900 for the bike. I got the 400, and because reality, we only had to put $400 of our own money in. We had actually received that Yamaha Moto 4 for free. Somebody had given it to us. It was in a house fire, and brought it home, did a little bit of work to it, and he rode it for a couple of years. And then we sold it for 500 bucks. So we actually only, in theory, have $400 in this bike. So I think I'm gonna do a big bore kit on it. I've been looking at that. It'll actually take it to a 434 versus the 400. And I've got to figure out the timing issue, and I actually get the tappets and the valves all in lash. But for right now, I've got another channel project. So we are going to be working on this. It's going to be I hope a fun project, because I've never actually, been this deep into a quad engine or a motorcycle engine. So it's gonna be something different for me and unique. It's gonna be pretty fun. It's like the caddy, The more I do, the more I learn. So why not add something else for me to do? Hey.
You're welcome.
You knew exactly what I was talking about. So anyway, just wanted to show you guys the new channel project. Let you know why I didn't do any uploads last week. I don't know how fast I'm going to get this bike done, because I do want to get the dually on the road. I do want to take some tears and things with that. So we're gonna have possibly a lot of late nights and a lot of Monster, or coffee, whatever it takes. So anyway, guys, there's a little update on where I'm at. And nobody cares about your super sweatshirt. Guys, thank you very, very much for watching. Hit that like button, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already done so, and we'll talk to you guys later on. Bye-bye.